Hello, good day, everybody. Welcome to the new webinar we have on the series of going back to the basics of the Bosch PA systems, especially also on loudspeakers. So we have been doing a series of various topics to introduce you to some basic things in the PA domain. And today we will be talking in context of that series about loudspeaker planning with the use of ease address. Yeah, so today, as also with the rest of the presentations, Jan-Pieter Smolders is back again. So application engineer for public address, and he will introduce you to the topic that we will talk about today, how to use ease address. Jan-Pieter, I give the word to you.
Great. Thanks, Maarten. Welcome everybody to this today's webinar. The objectives are, we go through ease address, like an introduction. We'll go to some features of the software to show you how you can make a planning for your loudspeakers and see the performance in a specific room. The topics. We'll start with a short introduction to ease address, how to install it on your PC, how to define a project, some default settings, direct sound and signal to noise, how to simulate that. We're going to make a floor plan and to show you how to make a model. Then some additional features like the cursor option we'll talk about, the options that you have on loudspeakers, positions and things like that. We're going to create a report and finally export the model that we have made to be used in, for instance, the full ease software. So ease address, Universal Distributed Audio System Modeling in 2D. It is made by AFMG, Arnold Weistel Media Group. They are the writers of this software based in Berlin, in Germany. Now, it's software that allows you to model an acoustic source, a loudspeaker, especially for distributed loudspeaker systems like we have, the 100-volt systems we have in 2 dimensions. So that means the direct sound from the loudspeaker, but it also will take into account additional loudspeakers that are in the room. Let's say you have 4 loudspeakers, also the influence of that sound in the whole area will be taken into account. Now, some features of the software we are going to look at some in more detail. How to enter a room layout, the reference picture, how to load a reference picture of a room, of a specific room, a drawing, something like that. Automatically arranged loudspeakers, like you see already here on the right side. The frequency response graph and the distribution graph of the sound pressure levels. A direct sound simulation, but also the optional signal to noise ratio. And then create a report and export it to ease. So when we're using ease address, which loudspeakers can we use? Ceiling loudspeakers are the most obvious ones. You mount them in the ceiling. They point down to a listening area. But also pendant loudspeakers you can mount on a ceiling, like the 2 examples you see over here. Or loudspeakers that you can mount at the ceiling and aim straight down, like the sound projector and the cabinet loudspeaker here. They both have a bracket, so you can point them straight down to the floor. Now the software is using GLL files. These files contain all the data that is required by the software, and the GLL files are created by suppliers of loudspeakers, manufacturers of loudspeakers, which have a license from AFMG, like Bosch has. You can also open the GLL files with the Ease GLL Viewer. This is also free software from AFMG, like you see in the picture here on the right. You can see the polar patterns and balloons and things like that. Now, how can you install it? If you look at the product catalog from Bosch. You go to the boschsecurity.com webpage, you select your country, your region, and after that, select public address and voice line. You just click on the icon that you will see, and then you will get a new window where you can click on the loudspeaker icon, and that will bring you to the overview of loudspeakers. Then just pick one of the loudspeakers and go to the download sections, like you see here on the top right. Select software, and then you will get a list of all available software for that loudspeaker. And for ease address, we will select the zip file. It's a zip file. Here on the right, just click on the language, and you will download a zip file. You can save that zip file on your PC, extract the files, and then you will see that you will have a data folder. The data folder contains all the GLL files of the loudspeakers from Bosch. And there's also an installation for ease address with an installation note. So you just read the installation note and go ahead with installing the ease address software. You can also, of course, download this software from the afmg.eu website. It's also available there. Now, all versions of ease address run on almost every modern software. The requirements of a PC, basically you have to have 4 GB of RAM and a 1.5 GHz processor. So most of the modern PCs will comply to that. Now, once you have installed ease address and you have opened it up, go to the left top and click on the file menu and select options, or press F9, function key 9. Then you in this option window, you can go to directories, like you see here on the right, browse on your PC where you have put this data folder with all the GLL files. So if you set this folder as a default, the software will go and look for the GLL files in that folder. So as soon as you did that, you're able to use all the Bosch GLL files you have downloaded. And later on, if there are new GLL files available, or there's an update of a GLL file, you can of course always add them to that folder. Now, the first thing we do is project definition, the defaults of your projects. Like you see here on the right, if you press F9, go to the project defaults, you can type in some parameters that will always be used once you open up ease address. Now, once you have done that, you go back to File and create a new project. So that's the first thing we'll do, open up a new project. And if you have opened it up, you will see a window opening with on the bottom some tabs, and you click on the project tab, and there you can type in some project specific things, like the title of your project, and for instance in the notes you can type some additional info if you like. Now, in the second tab on the bottom of the software, you will see the tab called Room. If you click on that, there are some things you can define here as well. You can give it a label. So for instance, this is the first room, or whatever kind of room you have. Then the room height. This is my default setting here. Room height is 3 meters. And the listening height, the ear height, is 1.6. So that's for people which are standing up. Then you can define the type of network, the type of loudspeakers you're going to use. But well, for Bosch loudspeakers, it's quite common to use 100-volt loudspeakers. But you can also select low impedance, like 8 ohm loudspeakers, 70-volt or 100-volt loudspeakers, which we also have in our portfolio. Then an optional thing is the use of noise levels. If you have to do calculations with noise, You can set the noise level if you already know and you have measured the noise levels in the particular room that you have to make this model for. You can enter the noise levels here. You have 3 options: the third octaves, a full octave, or a broadband full range noise level that you have measured. So you can fill that in here. Now on top, below the Bosch logo, you will see the option type. Now that's the type of simulation you can choose. There are 3 options. The first one is direct SPL. It's flat frequency response. Then the second one, which is highlighted already, is A-rated, SPL A-rated. That's linked to the response of the human ear, so that this will simulate the sound, how it behaves as we perceive it in our ears. And then the third one, the optional one, is the signal to noise ratio. That depends. If you have these figures available, you have to do calculations with it. You can also do the simulation over here with signal to noise. Now, floor plan and model building. If you were still in the room tab, you will see the option at layout images to select a floor plan. It could be a plan like a picture. The format could be PNG, JPEG, GIF, BMP, TIFF. So you can have, if you have, let's say, a kind of a layout available, you can select it over here. Just click on it and browse on your PC where you have this picture available. See that later on how we do that. Now in this example, I have chosen an exposition hall and I clicked on this picture, and the first thing we have to do is set the coordinates of a certain point. So pick a point in the layout, and the first point is my starting point, point A, with an XY coordinate of 0, 0. So that's where I start, and then the second point, point B, is at a certain distance of this first point A. Now that defines the line length. You have to know exactly from your drawing or whatever you have to exactly know what the distance is. So you have to pick those points that you exact know where they are and what the distance to the next point is, because this will define your room dimensions. So when you have done this, click on OK, and then you have done your first settings to create a room. Now, if you look in the worksheet that will open in ease address, it will show you the background, and on top you will have your room layout. This is the black square you see here in the red rectangle. That's my initial room. This is 10 by 30, so you will see it's very small, and we will have to adjust that to fit in the exposition hall. And so it will cover that. It will cover that actual room. Now, I made a small movie about this, so we can go through it a little bit faster, and it will show you the following features of ease address: how you can adjust the room height, how you can display the floor image, how you can just adjust the room layout, to show the mapping of the calculated sound pressure levels, the auto arrangement of loudspeakers, which is a very handy feature, SPL distribution graph, so the sound pressure level distribution in the room, and how to create a kind of report, a printed version of your model that you have made. So I'll switch to that movie. Let's see if I can start it over here. Okay, Martin, can you see the movie, the picture?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't see it running yet.
No, I have to start it just to make sure that
Yeah.
you all see this. Okay, I'll start it now. I'll walk you through this.
Yes, it's running, Jan-Pieter.
Okay, thanks. Okay, here the first thing we do, we set the room height. The exposition hall has a height of 12 meters. And then we show on the left side, we show the floor image. Now you can see my default room now. We will have to make this smaller. First, we'll make the workspace a little bit bigger, and then we zoom out. We zoom out, and there you will see my default room from 10 by 30 will become smaller and smaller. And here you'll see the actual room of the exposition hall. Now we have to adjust this to fit the room. You can do that by dragging those vertices, those points to the edge of the room. We do that for the whole room, so we take them one by one, going around the room until it is all covering the whole room size. So this is really easy. And in the end, we'll show the exact room size that we have now made. So now it's finished. We can change the transparency of the room background, so we can make it more transparent. So then you will see the actual room layout that we have just made. Now, if you look on the top left, if you click on show mapping, you will see the actual sound pressure levels here at a certain ratio. Now, this is not a full. We can add more loudspeakers by clicking on automatically arrange loudspeakers, and we can select a layout type from a square to hexagonal, like we see over here. And there's also a kind of overlap we can select. Now we selected minimum overlap, and now the software is calculating the sound pressure levels, as you see here on the right bottom. And we already see the colors displayed in our room. If I drag up the workspace a little bit to the top, you will see the distribution graph with the different sound pressure levels that are in this room. Now finally, we are going to make a printed version of this. You click on print version and we save it as a PDF. And if you open up that PDF, you will see your project with the layout and all information about the loudspeakers and sound pressure levels that are in your room. So this is nice if you have to make a report for somebody. You can show it here on a file as well. Okay, so that was a quick tour through EaseDress. I will go back to the presentation. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so once you have made this this room layout with or without a background, we can have different options. There are different features that we can use. The first one is a cursor. You can add a cursor to the room model and to the room model at a certain position. Now what it does, it will show you the sound pressure level. You can drag it all around to the room, so you don't have to pinpoint it to a certain position. It's if you want to have it straight below the loudspeaker, you can snap it to the loudspeaker, so then it is straight below. But you can also give it some coordinates where you have to like it, where you like to put it, or you just drag it around the room. Now, like you see here, I have one cursor, but you can have more cursors. In this case, on the right bottom of the window, you have the option to display the mapping values, and that will show you the sound pressure level at that position of the cursor. Like you see in the picture here, it is 90.4 dB. And on the top right of the bottom of the screen, you can add more cursors. In total, you can add 9. So in this case, I have added one more. You can see that, and I've positioned that one just in between those loudspeakers. And by clicking on the cursor locations, you can open up the properties like the X and Y coordinates, like you just seen. Another option is the relative option. If you look on top of the software, you will have a tick box called relative and plus minus 3 dB. It will show you the sound pressure level differences in the room actually. So it's all green, so it's quite even distribution. You see also on the right top here of the picture, you can see that the scale now, the average is 0 dB here. That's all green, and the rest is called red, where the sound pressure level is higher, or blue, where the sound pressure level is a little bit lower. There's also another option to see the differences of sound pressure level, the option between the cursors. If you tick the box on the bottom there relative to cursor 1, it will show you on the second cursor that I've added here, it will show you the difference of sound pressure level between this cursor and the first one. So in this case it's minus 4.6 dB. So the sound pressure level at that point is 4.6 dB lower compared to directly below the loudspeaker. Additional loudspeaker options. If you go to the auto arrange tab on the bottom of the software, this window you have these options here. If you click on the automatically arrange loudspeaker options, it will add the loudspeakers in the room, so it will fill the room with loudspeakers like you have just seen, and it will enable all these functions that you will see here below. Now we've seen already some of them. The layout type, I changed it from square to hexagonal. And then the overlap type, you already seen the minimum overlap that I have chosen. And the third option there is center to center. That looks like this, you see here in this picture. So that means that the center of the loudspeaker, of one loudspeaker, is just on the edge of the coverage of the loudspeaker that is installed next to it. You can also define the distance between loudspeakers. So if you know the position of a loudspeaker where it has to go, you can also define that. So the distance between all those loudspeakers, or the level variation. So the sound pressure level variation between them on the grid. So you can see that like we've shown over here. If it has to be, for instance, 5.8, then the software will position all those loudspeakers in such a way that the maximum level variation in the room is 5.8 dB. Now, if we go back to the top, there's also a loudspeaker option here. You can select the loudspeaker you would like to use. If you have made this model and you have chosen a specific loudspeaker, like we just did, the LS1, you can also change that. At the moment you do that, if I would select now a different loudspeaker, all those loudspeakers in the room will be replaced by that loudspeaker. There's also the option of tapping. Tapping the loudspeakers, loudspeakers have a tapping option on their transformers. For instance, this one you can tap down from 100 watt to 50 and 25. Now keep in mind that if you do this, if you go from, for instance, 100 watt to 50 watt, half the power, you will also lose 3 dB of sound pressure level on that loudspeaker. Then the option of fine tuning. Here at the bottom, you can select a certain angle. You can type in a certain angle. Now you see in the example here, I have chosen an angle of 45 degrees. That means that all these loudspeakers here in this line will be rotated with 45 degrees. So the whole grid is rotated with 45 degrees. And another thing you could do is change the offset of the grid in the horizontal way or in the vertical way. If you do that, the whole grid also will move in that direction. Now the adjustment of loudspeakers. In the loudspeaker tab, you can select individual loudspeakers. Like for instance, here I have selected the first loudspeaker you can see here in this screenshot. On top of these loudspeakers, on top of these of this option here, you can click on it, and so if I do that, you get a drop down, and then you can select also another loudspeaker. But then if I do this, if I would choose another loudspeaker here on this position, then it will only change this loudspeaker on that exact position. Next to it, you can change also the coordinates where this loudspeaker should be positioned. The tab settings of that loudspeaker, you can also change that individually here. And you can also mute it. So if you select mute, that loudspeaker will be taken out of the sound pressure level distribution. So it will give you no result. It's zero, no sound pressure level. It's not calculated at all. Now below this screen, you will see a summary, which is quite convenient. You will see how much power these loudspeakers require that you have chosen. So you know the amplifier that you have chosen, the amplifier power that you will need, and also the amount of loudspeakers that you will require for this project. Now the position of loudspeakers we have already seen. You can select them by the XY coordinates, but you can also manually move them by clicking on them. If you take the hand tool, the pen mouse mode here, if you click this icon, then you can select a loudspeaker like I do over here. You'll see this one I have selected, it has turned, instead of blue, it has turned to red. Now I have selected it and I can drag it, for instance, to a different position like I do over here. So I move it a little bit more to the edge. So this is also an option how to move your loudspeakers and position your loudspeakers in the room where you would like to have them. Now the last option we'll show here is the export of the room model from a 2D model to a 3D model. The option is available in the edit menu. If you click on edit on top of the software and you click on export active room to ease, then you will have that exact room also available in the full ease program, like you see here on the right side. You can see immediately it has now, let's say, walls, and the whole thing gets another dimension, right? It's a Z axis that you will have added to it. So it's a 3D room simulation now. So when you start in ease address, it gives you a quick start of a model to be used in ease as well. Okay, so that was it. Maarten, are there any questions?
Yeah, there are. First of all, thank you, Jan Peter, for the interesting presentation. Yeah, there are some questions. So first one is, shall the floor plan BMP or JPEG be on scale?
Yeah, you will have to make it to a certain size, but I forgot what it should be. I will have to look that up. I'm not sure.
And do you know if the image can be scaled?
You mean inside the ease address?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, it's a fixed picture, so the picture will be as you see it, and then you can, well, with your mouse, or you can zoom in or zoom out. That's what you can do.
Yeah. Is there also an option to design with wall speakers?
Yeah, there's no option for that because you cannot aim it, right? You cannot aim the speakers. If you have a cabinet speaker, you could mount it on the like on a ceiling, and that's the only projection you can make. So if you need yeah, like columns or whatever, and you want to aim them to a certain space, you need different software for that.
So you cannot project the sound beam. You can only project from a ceiling
From
loudspeaker
it, yeah,
downwards.
it's
Yeah.
it's a 2D simulation, right? So it's from the ceiling to the bottom.
Okay. Is there a possibility to set a minimum required SPL value?
That's a good question. No, the only thing that I know is that you can see the differences between the signal to noise ratio in the room. So that all depends on the loudspeakers that you choose, and you then immediately see the difference in the in the room. So there's nothing you can set as a minimum, that as far as I know. No.
Okay. Can you choose installation height of the speaker? So lower than the room height. I think that's a question if there is a pending speaker, for instance, pendant
Yeah,
speaker.
yeah. If you have pendant speakers, you just let's say you have a ceiling like I have in with 12 meters height, and your ceiling is, or your loudspeaker is, let's say 2 meters below, then you just simulate that your ceiling is at 10 meters, for instance. And then you
Mhm.
simulate exact the position where the loudspeaker is.
So you should change the height of the ceiling then,
Yeah, yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
That's it. There are no further questions. But okay, let's wait. Okay, there comes something else. What about SDI improvement possibilities? Is there
There are
anything considered?
no. You don't have any room acoustic parameters that you can use here. So it's only the direct sound from the loudspeaker. So you cannot use it here. If you want to do that, you should use other software like Ease EVAC or the full Ease program.
Mhm. Okay, so this is the entry level software of the E series, right? If I understand it
Exactly.
correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Where can the software be downloaded, the Ease address software?
Yeah, that's what's from the beginning. You can download it from the Bosch product catalog, like I showed you in the presentation, or you go to the afmg.eu website and click on products, and there you have all the products available from AFMG, so there you can download it as well.
Mhm. Okay. What about adding third-party speakers?
Yeah, just add them to your data folder. Like I showed you in the beginning, you have a data folder where you can where you load all your GLL files. Just add them to it. If that's the default in your project or in each address, then just add them to that folder, and you can select them as well.
Okay. 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 Can you choose the environment, like type of wall? Is it concrete? Is it wood? Is it glass?
No, nothing with room acoustics. You cannot do that. You should go to ease address, for instance. That's the next step. So if you have ease address, you can do that.
Yeah, please, if you have anything, don't be shy. We can talk about it. We still have a few minutes to go. No thanks. Okay. Yeah, if there are no further questions, I don't know if you have one more slide, Jan Peter, maybe with the outlook.
Yeah, we have some more webinars to come.
Yeah. Yeah, there is one more comment. You just mentioned that acoustics are covered in an ease address, but I think this is what you pronounced it wrongly. Ease address. This is the simple version. It's the ease evac, I think. That's the one that you need if you want to consider um, acoustic things like reverberation or something like this. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
of course, of course. Did I
Yeah.
say EASE address? No, EASE evac. If you go to the afmg.eu website, they have also tutorials about EASE evac. So if you go there, you can read and see everything about that software as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that comment. Okay. So next webinars. This is the one we had today, right? 20th of January. So that was EASE address for loudspeakers. Then there is also commercial audio presentations coming. So audio design part 1, and then a bit further there is audio design part 2. Jan-Peter, this means for the pure public address portion, this was the last webinar of the series covering the basics?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's correct.
Good.
This is the last one. Yeah.
Good to know. Okay. There is still one question coming in. I have EASE evac with cabinet speaker management possibilities and material management. Will you have some seminars about that?
No, we don't have it. If you, I would suggest to go to afmg.eu and go look for the tutorials over there. There you can read everything about EASE evac or EASE 4, what you like. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Yeah, question. Oh, somebody says you can have more rooms in the same project. Okay. I don't know how, but that's a comment that is coming in the chat box.
Ah, okay.
Okay, if there are no further questions, Jan-Peter, thank you for doing the series on the PA basics, and then you move on to commercial audio. As mentioned, you will get an email with the link to the recording, so you can review it once more if you want to. And yeah, looking forward to your participation in the upcoming webinars. Thank you very much.